welcome back to my channel. I am going to be reading my story called Crumbling Kingdoms, Hearts, and Minds for my OC Alice. Chapter 1, A Book to be Found. Alice browsed through the books. Every shelf was filled with books to take her to new worlds, but these books weren't new to her. She had read every one of them twice, sometimes 3 times. She was sick of the same thing. All she wanted was something new to read. She hoped that someone had published a new book or something, but that was rare. She skipped to the next aisle and hoped to find something. She only liked fiction books and history books, but Alice was very picky on her history books. She picked books that were published so long ago that the author was lost to time, and the history was closer to a fairy tale. In the books, it said that the world was once ruled by unforgiving, ruthless, horrible, godlike things. They were depicted as humans, but they had all kinds of horrific powers they used against humans to make them submit to their every wishes. Alice had done as much research as she could into these demonic things. Many authors said that these were immortal and unbeatable if they ever went to war, but they say their downfall and how they disappeared was petty arguments between themselves and banishing one another, and soon they were all gone. Alice was skeptical to believe that the powerful, demon-like things would give up so much power over petty bullshit. She walked into the next aisle, and there was an older woman. Alice looked at the other shelf at the far end away from the woman. She wasn't up to making friends. She skimmed through the titles, looking for one she had not read yet. "Looking for something?" A sweet and slightly raspy voice entered her ears. Surprised, Alice jumped. "Holy hell, you scared the living daylights out of me!" Alice said aloud, with a hand over her heart, throwing the idea that you should be quiet in libraries out the window. "Sorry, love." It was the old woman from the other side of the aisle. "It's okay, and to your question, kinda. I want to read something new. I have read every fiction and fantasy book and history book for the 1st century." Alice explained. She felt a little compelled to tell the woman. "Oh, is that all you're interested in?" Her voice was so sweet. "'Cause if so, I know a place where there are many, many books like that," she added, exaggerating her words as she went along. Alice looked up at the woman. She had pretty chocolate-colored, wrinkly skin, long curly gray hair, and emerald green eyes that shined like real emeralds. She also wore a similar coat to Alice, a raincoat made of leather on the outside, and on the inside was made out of fluffy wool. Alice was brown with golden on the inside. The woman's coat looked like it had once been dyed purple, now faded away. The inside was mossy green that remained vibrant. The woman looked Alice in the eyes and smiled. "You have such pretty eyes," the old woman commented. Alice got that a lot. She had golden eyes that looked like sunsets, but something Alice could never see herself was a little symbol, a star inside of a circle with a heart in the middle. Each point of the star had hearts with 3 dots above that. Looking into the woman's eyes, she could see the symbol. "You have pretty eyes as well," Alice returned the compliment. "Not as pretty as yours. With those eyes, you'll surely find yourself some man. Anyway, Alice wanted to say that she was already taken, but she didn't feel that this woman needed to know about her love life. "There's a library not too far from here. It has all the books you could ever think of." The old woman took Alice's hand and started to lead her out of the aisle. She followed along with the old woman. "Really? Where?" Alice excitedly responded. "Yes, it's only a trip in the woods. I would get a book for you, but I can't go anymore. The trip leaves me in pain for days because of how long the journey is." Her voice turned sorrowful by the end. "I wish I could have a book there. I've been wanting to read." Alice felt a little bad for the old woman now. "What if I could go there for you? I could get the book, and I could browse the library and pick out exactly what I want," Alice sheepishly offered the woman. The woman looked at Alice and smiled again. "That is a wonderful idea." The old woman held Alice's hands up in excitement like a teenager. "I'll give you the map and the note of the book I want." She led Alice away into a small and slightly lowered part of the library that held desks for reading and working peacefully. She pulled a yellowing parchment out of her coat and took a note off the desk and a pen from the cup holder. She penned the book's name and author down. She then slid the note into the yellowing parchment and handed it over to Alice. The old woman first came off as frail and fragile. Now she seems like an excited teenager. But Alice didn't question it. She took the parchment and slid it into her coat. "I'll meet you here next week. Is that all right with you?" Alice asked. "Yes, I can do that. How about we meet in one of the private rooms? I'll wait outside and wave you in once you're here." Alice turned and started to head out. As she started, her stomach dropped. Her head started to spin, and the taste of vomit traveled through her throat and lingered at the top of her throat and the back of her mouth. Her head started to ache. "I picked the right one," she swore she heard the old woman say, but her voice seemed to turn to a young woman who has spent a lifetime talking and performing for others. Alice didn't turn back. She left as quickly as she could. She wanted to get home quickly and lie down. Stepping outside, she found the rain drops bouncing the ground. It wasn't as hard as the rain was when she first came to the library earlier that night, but still an inconvenience. She popped her hood up and ran through the rain all the way home. Locked the door to her tiny 2-story townhouse. Once inside, she took the map out and tossed it onto the counter. She tossed her coat onto the back of a chair, and Alice headed to the living room. It had a few bookshelves of Alice's favorite books and odds and ends of her fiancé. She laid across the couch. Alice's fiancé, Lacey, was already sleeping upstairs. It was past midnight. Alice worked night shifts at the local tavern for better tips. She was up at night while Lacey slept and worked during the days. Alice was trying to build up her skills in art so she could become a historiographer or a cartographer. Alice's headache left her, and her stomach felt better, but she was still left with an awful taste in her mouth. She looked back at what happened at the library. Her behavior was odd to herself. She usually was reserved and would have tried to brush the woman off and leave. She would have tried to leave the conversation, but the new library did interest her. That's the end of Chapter 1. I will try as quickly as I can to get Chapter 2 out. Chapter 2 is really short. I am doing this in short chapters just so that I myself am able to keep getting chapters out and producing them as quickly as possible, and leaving these videos short enough so that they seem manageable to make. Because if I do them pretty long, it seems impossible for me and I never get it done. Hopefully you liked it. If you would like to read this, I will be posting it on one of my Instagrams in the comment section, but I also have a Wattpad account where you can read the story from there. On my Wattpad, the story will come out sooner than it appears on my Instagram and YouTube. I also have links to my Twitter and Artful. Go check me out at my Twitter, Artful, Instagram, my second Instagram account, and wherever else you can find me. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming along and listening to me tell my story and watching my art. Thank you so much. Make sure to like and subscribe, and bye. See you next time.